Let's make our way through this word problem. Now, when I read this, here's how I do word problems. I just kind of scan the whole thing at once. Just scan it. I'm not looking for details. I'm just going to scan it to see what I'm working with. Then I'll go back and see exactly what information I need. All right, so what do we have here? Back in 2005, it took 20.36 currency units. Just think dollars. All right, so in 2005, it took $20.36 to equal $1 back in 1918. So in 1918, a dollar was a dollar. That same dollar in 2005 was $20.36. So in 1918, if you bought something for a dollar, in 2005, it would cost you $20.36. Now, in 1990, it took only $13.20 to equal that $1 back in 1918. And now we're told that back in 1990, it took only $13.20 to equal that dollar. So I kind of listed things down here. So start here in 1918. You have a dollar. Something costs a dollar. Now, in 2005, you had to pay $20.36 for that same thing. But back in 1990, 15 years before, it only cost you $13.20. All right, so it looks like things are going up. And now they tell us this. All right, the amount it takes to equal the value of one currency back in 1918 can be estimated. So back in 1918, we can estimate this number here using a linear function given by this. All right, so that value is the value. Now, x is going to be the number of years since 1918, is given by this function, 0.4906x plus 13.8702. And then they tell us something about x. Now, this is an important part here. X is what? X is the number of years since 1990. All right, so the number of years since 1990. So x is the number of years starting in 1990. So here's what we know. Well, let's get it to right here. In 1990, x equals 0. In 1991, x equals 1. 1992, x equals 2, ... 2005, x equals 15. So if we want to know how much it would cost, like here, for a dollar back in 1918, we can use this formula. So you just plug in the number of years from 1990, multiply it by this number here, and add that number, and that'll give us the value. So now at the end they tell us V11. Well, what is V11? 11 means 11 years from 1990. So this V11, this is, 11 years from 1990. So if you have 1990 plus 11, where are we? We're at 2001. So let's complete parts A and B. So here's A. A is asking us this. A says, use the function to predict the amount it will take in 2009 and 2018 to equal $1 back in 1918. Well, it looks like somehow I had the answers turned on already, so we know the answers, but let's see if we can get it. All right, so part A. Okay, somebody needs attention. All right, come here. Come here. All right, what's going on? What do you need? All right, so in part A, in 2009, all right, let's see. How far is that from 1990? Well, that's 19 years, all right? So x is equal to 19. So here's what we want. What is v of 19? All right, so v of 19 is going to be, now here's our function. Calculator, put 19, right, put 19 into x. So look, as soon as you see this, you get a little tense, right? A little anxious because there's so many words. But it's just filled with information that we probably don't need all that. It's just kind of like, okay, fill it in, here's some interesting information. This is really all I need. All I need is a function and a number, and I can put it in and compute. All right, so put a 19 in there. So I'm going to get this. I'm going to get 0.4906 times 19, and then add 13.87, let me get this right here, 13.8702. Okay, 0.8702. I forgot the 2 up there in our function. Okay, so on your calculator, just put in 19. No, you don't. That's not what you're going to do. You're going to do this first. All right, put in 0.4906 times 19, and then plus 13.8702. Now, when I did this on my calculator, this is V of 19, by the way. When I did that on my calculator, I got V of 19 equaling 23.1916. Now, look, this is money. It's money, so I don't need those last 2 digits. And if I round off, it's just 19. So this is what I'm getting on my calculator. So how much did you need? Back in 1918, you pay something for $1. Pay $1 for something. How much does that same thing cost you in 2009? Well, that is going to cost you 23.19 units or dollars. Now, part B asks us, what is it going to cost in 2018? All right, so in 2018, all right, how far is that from 1990? So 2018 minus 1990 is 28. So let's put 28 into our function. So right up here, I'm going to put in a 28. So put a 28 in here, and we will get this. Now, actually, you know, on our calculator, we have most of it in there already. So just do this. In your calculator, press, okay, let me get a calculator and I'll show you how to do this here. Right, on your calculator, you see this button right down here at the very bottom right. Okay, how about this? I'll circle it here. This one right here. Right on the top it says answer, but it's in blue. So what you have to do is press second and then answer. Now what that does is that brings up the last answer, or the last thing that you put into your calculator. Now the last thing that I put into my calculator was this. Here's what I have on the screen. I'll write it up here on the screen. I had this let me write it differently. I had 0.4906 times, we did it at 19, I think it was, plus 13.8702. All right, and then I pressed enter, and what I got back there was that 23.1916. All right, now what I want to do is I want to bring this back and just replace 19 with 23. All right, so press this. Press the second key, and then down here at the bottom right, press answer. Now what comes back when you do that is this expression right here. All right, this is the one that's coming back. That should be on your screen. Otherwise, you have to type the whole thing in again. No big deal, but you can do it. Now, run the cursor over to the 19. So just run your cursor right over here. Run your cursor right over to this 19. Put it right on the 1. And now just type 28. All right, so just replace it with 28. So type in 28. All right, and now press enter. So now you press enter again, right down here at the bottom right. You press enter. And now here's what I get back. All right, so maybe you're getting the same thing. You might have to type it all in again. But I'm getting back this. I'm getting for V of 28, I am getting 27.607, but because it's money, I want only 2 places. So how about 27.61? In part B, we are asked some question, but before I go on, I'm going to write the function. Now, up here at the top right, I'm going to kind of circle that function for you. Just rewrite that function so it's right in front of us. Here's what it says. V of x is equal to 0.4906 4906 plus 13.8702. 13.8702. Now keep in mind what x is. By the definition up on the top, if you read through it, this is the number of years, right? The number of years from 1990. So if I put in 0 for x, I'm 0 years from 1990, so I'd be at 1990. If I put in a 1, I'm 1 year from 1990, 1991, and so on. All right, so what do you do? What's the instructions here? The instructions, I'm calling the instructions V. It says to take your x and do this to it. Multiply it by 0.4906, get that number, and then add 13.8702. Now, in part B, what we want to know is when will it take approximately 30 currency units? Like when does it take $30 to equal the value of $1 back in 1918? All right, so what do I have? I have this number right here. Now, what is that? All right, that's the number, that's my output. That's the number of currency units, right? V of x equals 30. That's the number of currency units, or $30. What I want to do is find x. How many years? What is x? X is the number of years from 1990. And it says, the problem says when. So I know I'm looking for a time, right? That's a time. All right, so now I want to know what x will give me a 30. So let's put a 30 in for here. All right, so we're just going backwards now from what we did in part A. So we're going to have 30 is equal to 0.4906x plus 13.8702. So let's solve this linear equation. And I know it's a linear equation because the exponent on the x is a 1, right? Right up there it's a 1. All right, so what are you going to do? We're going to do a couple things. I'm going to do them all at once. I'm going to subtract this. All right, so let's subtract this number here. So first of all, I'm going to subtract 13.8702 from both sides. When I subtract it from the right side, it's gone. Now, on your calculator, make that subtraction. So take 30. Turn your calculator on first. Okay, on. So take 30 minus 13.8702, and I got 16.1298. That's equal to 0.4906x. Now, let's undo that multiplication. So now I'm going to divide by 0.4906. Now, you have this number in your calculator. It's already there. That's already there. So just press divide. So just press the divide key, right? And your calculator probably looks like this. It probably looks like, now, I'll do it up here. ANS, take the answer and divide it by, now type in the 0.4906. 0.4906. Press enter. Now what I'm getting is 32.8777077 ... But this is the number of years. All right, and the problem says just to approximate it. So, this is about 33 years. All right, so it takes about 33 years. But it says when. When. So, well, okay, I guess you could answer, okay, when is it? It's 30 years from 1990. Or 33 years from 1990 is 1990 plus 33, which is 2023. So that's about when something that cost $1 back in 2018 would cost $30. Now,